Good morning. Welcome back to the second one of my videos about COVID-19 community spread down under. It's There is an increasing concern about some political decisions. There is an increasing concern about the underestimation of the situation here in Australia. It's my personal concern, but I guess it's also a concern that is spreading around all the friends that are interacting with COVID-19 Down Under. We got few people subscribing the newsletter. We got few people reaching out and giving us comment about the situation. We have reached a total confirmed amount of cases. That is 1700 roughly. And the question you should ask yourself is, what is going to happen? Because as we already mentioned in the previous videos, this figure is not telling us how many infected people we have today. This figure is telling how many people got infected 2 weeks ago in average. And as we already have looked at in the previous video, the number R naught is key. It's key in this scenario. If a person is infected with the R naught number of 3, can infect 3 people, and 3 people can infect 9, and 9 people can infect 27. And in another scenario, like an R naught 1.3, like in common influenza, the one person in average infect another person, and in average infect another person. So we have like a very linear one-to-one distribution that gives that number down. Number of people infected is not exponential, but is linear. It can be a line. It can go down very easily. So now that we have understood this and we know that social interaction is a problem, and we know that the only reason we can know about known cases is manifestation of symptoms, because otherwise you don't get tested here in Australia. It's not like it's happening in South, has happened in South Korea, where they organize drive-through, where you get in with your car, personnel will test you for COVID-19 and then communicate to you if you're infected or not. Absolutely no. No. Let's see what is the politician, what they are doing. Let's have a look.
We were expecting a mass shutdown. Instead, the message from the Premier is schools are open, but keep your kids home tomorrow if you can. The call to arms was met with confusion, leading one Sydney school to enforce its own shutdown, telling students to stay away until the end of next month. And late this afternoon, confirmation all canteens in government schools will be closed indefinitely.
School drop-off has never been so confusing.
At the moment, there's so much uncertainty and doubt. It's crazy.
Parents are conflicted.
He'll probably stay today, but from tomorrow we intend to keep him at home.
At 8 a.m, the Premier had this message.
Schools in New South Wales from tomorrow will remain open. The health advice has not changed. However, for practical reasons, in New South Wales, we'll be encouraging parents to keep their children at home.
So I won't really understand what the hell is a practical reason, and why the government, the local government is so much mismanaging. I can't even bloody talk anymore. The level of upsetting is reaching like the top. The top. It's completely bloody stupid. And this is what the hell is going on. There is complete chaos. No one knows anymore what to do. They let the Ruby Princess to dock in Sydney and spread further the virus. Further community spread that comes from mismanagement. Okay, now I'm going to explain to you that may have no idea what's going on. I'm going to give you a hint. If you have kids home and you want to teach them math, this is a good occasion to make some basic math calculation so that they can keep up with the math skills. The R naught. Do we know from this genius they are managing the situation what the R naught is in Australia? Do you know it? No one is talking about it because it's bloody scary. I'm telling you, because it's bloody scary. And now I'm going to show you what I've been up to, and I'm gonna explain you these numbers, and I'm gonna keep you understand, you viewer, what the hell is going on in Australia. So this calculation is for New South Wales. I do have got the data from the charts or from Covid19 Down Under, and I'm calculating using these figures from the number of cases confirmed during the month, from the early days of March. We do have 6 cases from the 2nd of March. So if you, as I already explained, these 6 cases are not a real figure. These 6 cases are people that they were going to church, going to the supermarket, catching the train in the morning, and they were also going to the beaches. They were going to, I don't know, the gym. And while doing that, they felt a little bit ill. They felt sick. They were not really giving like too much weight to that feeling of being tired. It may be like, my manager is making me tired, is making me stressed out. I should just rest. And then he stays home, hugs the kids, kisses the wife. He maybe also hugs the grandparents. And then he decides at night, I can't really breathe anymore. And then he goes to the doctor, and then the doctor checks on him, and then the doctor says, oh yeah, let me check your chest. And can you cough? I hear you, your torso, can I check your lungs? And while doing that, he's contaminating the doctor. The GP is getting the virus. And then the people that go there will get the virus. And then that bloody number gets to 171 on that day. How I came out with this figure? I assumed that it takes, as is well known, 2 weeks to come up with the symptoms. So guess what? 2 weeks later, right? 2 weeks later, which will be the 16th of March. The 16th of March, we had 171 people that were reported infected. And how we know that were infected? Because they got tested. And in order to get tested, they had to feel exactly like these 6 people felt the day in the past, in the 2nd of March. So what happened is that what I did is so how I do know what is the R naught? The R naught. So I walked my way back saying, okay, so there must have been jumps during the day where people got infected and then they infected other people. And then we may have had a complicated tier of infection. So, but the principle of R naught works quite clear. It works in this way. So let's assume that R naught is 3. Then 6 people will infect with an R naught of 3 per day, 36 people. And if these 36 people are getting the virus, within 24 hours, is a known fact, they will become infectious in 24 hours. And then with an R naught of 3, they will contaminate 108 people. But because my figure says 171, so what I've done, I just worked my way back and calculate that for that day, in average, there was an R naught of 5.33. This is a first figure with low numbers, so, maybe it's wrong. So let's say what happened the second day. The second day, the number of confirmed cases bloody doubled, right? Bloody doubled. So this is coming from way in the past. So what they did, the same thing that the first guy did. He didn't know, he didn't want to believe it, then he couldn't breathe anymore, he went to get tested. By chance, if they worked it out that he got also in touch with someone who was infected, boom, you are confirmed. But in the meantime, after 2 weeks, we had 210 cases confirmed. So I worked the way back to find what the R naught would be, and it is 4. So if you start with 13 figures, with an R naught of 4, you get to 210 cases, and so on. The 4th of March, 22 confirmed cases, and if you do, you go and check how many cases they were into the 18th of March, we have 267 cases. 267 cases. You work your way back, you find that the R naught is 3.7, and so on, till the data we have available for this month. It came out that the R naught excluded the first one that it looks like a little bit off because of the low number. It gets in an average of 3.5, 3.7, 3.7, 3.95, 3.72, and the average R naught is 3.9 at the moment with this data. So after this date, we can forecast then future cases based off the R naught average calculated from the 2nd of March. And we have got 761 cases that may have happened, contaminated people. They may have got the virus back the 9th of March, and they will start feeling sick by the 23rd, and then 55 cases and 10 will generate an 73 people that will start feeling sick the 24th, and 65 people from the 11th, they will start feeling sick by the 26th. And if you wonder why they kept the same number and then we have this big jump, is because it may have took a while to get, because maybe they finished the test, so they were just trying to get new tests and trial and triage the new cases coming in. And basically, if we keep going, keeping this R naught of 3.9, what is going to happen is that by the 11th of March, New South Wales will have 28,247 cases. 28,247 cases. I can't even fucking read the number because I feel sick just thinking about it. It's crazy that no one is bringing up this issue. No one is telling anyone about the fact that this is the scenario and is not science fiction, because this happened in Italy. This happened in Italy. This is history in Italy already. It's not someone crazy guy staying up late at night and thinking about numbers. This is exactly what happened in Italy. So how you avoid this situation. How we going to avoid to have 28,000 people that manifest cases in New South Wales? Well, for instance, stop going around and stay home. Stop going to the beach. Stop going to gathering events. Stop to bring your kids to school, right? Don't listen the politician what they're saying. The school has to close down. No one has to go anywhere. We need to be responsible ourselves and start draconian measures on our own, because the government is failing the same way as every other country government has failed. They are not learning the lessons. There is no reason to understand why they are not learning the lesson. Maybe there is a political decision. Maybe they are making some calculation and coming up with numbers. Maybe getting rid of some of the population is gonna give some benefit to someone. Well, maybe not. Maybe they are just dumb, which is most likely the case. And the only things we can do is stay home. Stay home and self-isolate. Do not get lost in thoughts about who's gonna pay the rent, who's gonna pay the mortgage, who's gonna pay the bills. Because once we have 28,000 cases in New South Wales only, I do not even want to try to calculate the figure for the whole nations, or for each state or the whole nation in general, because this number is already scary enough and is not going to let me sleep tonight. So it is demonstrated by other countries in average that of this figure, 50% of this figure is going to require ICU. ICU beds are required for people that develop COVID-19 pneumonia. Pneumonia comes with a drop of the oxygen saturation in your bloodstream, caused by the fact that the lungs are getting interstitial pneumonia, interstitial inflammation that is stopping the absorption of oxygen and the release of CO2 from your blood into your lungs. So if you do not have ICU, you're gonna die. That's the story. If you don't have ICU, you're gonna die. So if we do a simple calculation and we say, okay, so let's get this figure, right? And then we multiply that for 1.615, which is the number of cases which will require ICU in average. So we are not predicting the future. We are just giving figures, right? So we are not saying that these numbers are right, just to avoid to raise confusion. So this number may not happen if certain things are going to roll out in Australia, which I'm going to discuss in a second. So let's press enter, and then we have a number, 4,237 ICU bed required. So now, I'm not going to tell you how many ICU beds New South Wales has. I want you to get online and find the number so you can understand what the problem is, what the issue is. So the issue is that we do not have enough ICU beds. And the 11th of April, right? The 11th of April is not that far away. Do you think that in 2 weeks, in what is it? 2 weeks? Yeah, 2 weeks. The New South Wales health system is going to put together 4,237 ICU beds? I don't believe so. So, to recap, the situation is the following. So we have an R0 number, an average, which can be calculated according to data we have. which is 3.9 at the moment, according to this calculation, which may be lowered by few measures. So one of these measures is complete lockdown. Complete lockdown can lower this number, and lowering that number means save lives, because once we lower the numbers, we can flatten the famous curve, and when we flatten the curve, we can achieve a situation where we can actually cure people. We can lower also the death rate in case many all these people that require a assistance. So the cases that are really bad can have proper care. So if we get back to this number and we lower it, so now it's out of the formula, but I am assuming that if we reduce the social interaction and then the social distance, this number will go down. Let's say that it goes back to 3, or was my first calculation. Then what is going to happen? What is going to happen? The figures are reducing. So instead have 28,000 people confirmed, we're going to have just 9,000. So do you understand what the trick is? So the trick is to lower this number. If the R naught becomes 2, then the cases will drop, like we have noticed in China. And then from having 2,132, where it's going down, it's going to be 1,792 cases, right? Is it that clear? So to do that, right, to achieve that, and then to have only 268 people in ICU, the 11th of April, you have to stay home. Is that clear? That's it. You just stay home. You don't go out. You don't do like the Italians are doing. Don't go out. Do not go out without a reason. And make sure that that reason is bloody important. It's just like going out once a week to get your groceries. It's going once a week to get a stock of medicines if you need medicines for the people you love and they are sick. Do not go out for any other reason that is vital. So let's go back to the reality. And the reality at the moment is that unless someone gives a clear message about political and human message, we need a leader that tell us what to do in a clear way. It's not like the schools are open, but we suggest don't take your kids at school. It's just bullocks. We need to hear what we need to hear from the government is one clear message. We need to lock down the country. No one has to move their ass from home for 2 weeks. And we have demonstrated with these numbers why these 2 weeks are important. Because these people that get sick, if they are still around after 2 weeks, they are going to infect, right? They're going to infect another 2,718. It's that clear. It's that easy to understand. So now, if you are not understanding also how this virus works, it's very, very simple. It goes out from your butthole, it goes out your urine, it goes out your eyes, it goes out your nose, it goes out of your mouth if you sneeze, if you take a dump, if you piss, if you cry, if you're talking like I'm doing now, you are spreading droplets. When you flush the toilet after you're peeing, what you're doing, you are spraying the content of the toilet, unless you put down the cover, into the air. But when you piss, the droplets will go around. When you talk, the droplets will spread around your the place you are for 1 meter and a half, 2 meter, up to 3 meter. If you are in a room, you're talking, sneezing, breathing, is gonna to get the air in that room contaminated unless it's very ventilated. So it's very easy to get infected. It's super easy. That's why this number is so high. And I'm not surprised that the number will increase that much, because it happened in Italy. It's going to happen in Australia if we are not taking any action to stop it. So to close this, which is like what I'm doing with this video is not just giving you advice on an education piece of what the problem is with this virus. It's also a way for myself to get rid of the frustration I have when I see these news. I have to publish this news. I have to publish these videos on this app. I have to publish these news. I have to publish these news. I have to publish these news about 800 people dying in Italy in a day. I have to read all these things, and they make me sick. My loved ones are dying in Italy. I am Italian. My loved ones are dying in Italy. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind because there is no ground around me anymore, and I need to make ground again around me again. And the only way I have to do that is to tell you how much suffering there is in seeing your family being wiped off by a virus and not be able to help at all. So just think about having good part of your family getting sick because you got it together. You were sick, you were sharing the virus altogether, and then they get sick, and they may have survived, but they will not because there are not enough ICU beds. Imagine that your loved one cannot be grieved. It will be taken in a bag and burned like waste because there is not enough facility to handle corpse. This is what we are going towards, while these useless people are telling us, right, are giving us misinformation. They're not telling the population exactly what to do. They are giving us confusion and uncertainty about our future. Personally, I don't give a damn about rent. I don't give a back about paying bills. Life is not worth it. Is not worth my rent. Is not worth my bills. My life and the life of the people I love is much more important than the economy. The economy is us. We do the economy. It's not a bank. It's us being home that is crashing the system. So be aware of this data. Please contact us or support us to keep this going, because it's getting expensive to run all these servers and information up. Subscribe to the newsletter. Stay tuned if you want a copy of the spreadsheet I created. I may release a link to get a copy of it. And if you find that my argument is bogus or my information is wrong, please reach out so we can discuss it and maybe we can correct the data. But unfortunately, I really want to be wrong. Trust me, I really want to be wrong. If you think I'm wrong and you want to start an argument about it, just contact me from Covid19 Down Under.com. Contact us down here. Shoot an email. Let me hear your voice, or just comment to the video below. Be safe, stay home, and look after the people you love.